Hello and welcome to the Heart of the Matter. My name is Omotayo.
My name is Dipo Ayo Adeosi.
Yeah, and today we have an interesting guest. Yeah, we're going to see how this conversation kind of plays out. But we want to dive into a conversation with a young man called Fusi Olateru Olagbegi, who is an art project manager. In the creative industry, and we want to go through kind of his story, his career transitions, because we believe that a lot of creative people out there who are a bit like shaky on what that looks like will find a few gems in this conversation. Yeah? All right. Hi, Fusi.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, thank you for coming.
It's quite awesome.
Yeah? How you feeling?
Not relaxed yet, but I'll get to it.
You
get to it.
You get there. Okay. So let's dive in. First question. Like we said, you have done kind of a couple of things, but I want you to kind of talk about your journey. Like you studied the sciences. You studied
Chemistry.
biochemistry, and then you did a master's.
In biotechnology.
Right. But in between, you had this creative kind of hustling thing.
Okay, my own story was quite, I think it's the basic Lagos school on the island, lived on the island, went to King's College sort of story.
Yeah.
You know, we knew a lot of people. We always felt like we knew everybody kind of thing. And we're always interested in the cool stuff.
Right.
So I'd always had sort of like my real passion in the creative industries. Anyway, I was a music head. I loved music. I was influenced by music a lot by my parents, my uncles, you know, so I mean, there was no way I wasn't going to be connected to the creative industries.
Right.
But, you know, it's that education dynamic as well, where you also have to be, you know, you have to go to school.
Yeah.
You have to have a first degree, you know,
Yeah.
all that stuff. So I think now I can say I did my first degree and my master's for my parents,
Right.
you know, to check out. And I wasn't dumb, so I wasn't dumb. I was quite okay. So I mean, I was in sciences, so I, you know, biochemistry, biotechnology. I really liked all that stuff, you know. But on the side, I was throwing parties, you know, carnivals,
Yeah.
you know. And I had really supportive parents. My mom used to encourage. She used to encourage every single crazy idea I could really articulate, even with money at the time. So I was able to sort of reach some spaces that ordinarily most of my colleagues wouldn't reach. So by the time I'd finished my degree, it was just, yeah, it was just like, what does life have, you know, like
Yeah.
what's there,
What's out there?
you know, what's out there. And then I found a job that fit my sort of my real interest.
Right. You've condensed like
Honestly, it felt
like 20 years
Like
that,
into
that can't be
2
the whole story.
Before we get to the job, yeah,
Yeah.
I actually wanted to talk a little about some of the things that you did.
Okay.
So the Nigerian music industry as we know it now, there were a lot of the people who kind of started it off, and there was a time in there where I believe you had an interest in also being in music.
Yeah, absolutely correct. And there's some things I wouldn't say.
Of course.
But yes, I was definitely interested in the music industry. In fact, I was a key player. I worked very closely with a record label, did some artist management as well. I had very good friends who were key players in the music industry, as well as sometimes I even recorded music. Can you imagine?
I can imagine.
I did. I did, but nobody's ever going to hear any of that stuff.
Google, the internet never forgets.
Never.
Do you know what? I
Internet.
think I missed the bus because it was just after that period that the internet now really became something
Yeah.
where people. I mean, there was it MySpace or
High five.
High five.
those high fives? Yeah. So I think I missed that bus. But high five, oh my god, a lot of my promotions went on high five.
Wow.
Right.
Oof. What didn't we do that year? We did after carnival parties like that, like really ambitious stuff. We did there was a venue space that one of my friends used to have.
Yes.
I like how there's so much stuff that's being said but not being said.
That we used to throw parties at. Like, I mean, so I feel like a lot of people have this same path, you know, and a lot of people sort of went through it different ways.
Yeah.
But I always knew that there was a career. I didn't know what it was, but I knew that it was possible to actually live and still function in the creative industries because I did make money those years. Like, I mean, after university, I didn't have a job immediately, but I'd do my promotions. I used to consult for some companies where I'll go in and I'll deliver a program for them or even an event. It was real. It was real cash. It was real money. There was no dodginess. I'm one of those people, like, if we're 10 people, yeah, and somebody steals a phone and you give it to me to keep my, I'll get caught. I'm that person. So
Right.
I don't know how to do dodgy. I
Right.
just never have.
Right.
So yeah, it's that kind of thing.
Yeah. Questions are coming up in my mind about like obviously career, hustling when you don't have a job, and what that looks like now, and ambition for young guys and stuff. I'm just gonna let me hold on to those a bit.
You know, from what you were saying, because you know, unlike Omoti here, who's kind of known you for a bit, but I mean, I'm just getting acquainted to all of this of your life story. Sounds really amazing. But what I wanted to ask you was with music or any other thing, because you mentioned that you had a few like interesting ideas before you eventually settled with your job right now. What was it about all of those ideas that didn't make you stick with any one of them? How does someone know that maybe where they're at right now as, you know, whatever they're doing with the music industry or within the
promotions and parties.
yeah,
and
whatever,
all
that
those
it's
kinds of
not
things.
the end goal? Like, what was it about it that made you think that there was something else? Because that could very much have been
A career.
a career that you could have, you know, made so much out of.
Yeah.
I think for me, it was just never enough. Like, I always wanted more. So it wasn't enough just to record music. Recording music was great. You know, music does this thing to you where it takes you to places. You feel better after you fail the test when you listen to a very good song. You know, heartbreaks. You know, all of that. So
Yeah.
music has that sort of connection. But for me, it just wasn't enough to be recording the music. I felt there was a bigger role that creative people needed to play, like outside the music industry. I remember I told you I was in the sciences, so for me, even mechanics, even mechanical stuff, even like even law, I just felt like there were always creative ways to do things.
Right.
So in that sector that was growing at the time, you know, that wasn't there at the time, let's be frank.
Yeah.
I felt like, yeah, there's something here. I just didn't have the money. If I had the money, maybe I'd be broke. But did you get, it might have been something I would have really, like, I'll have really invested in because there was definitely something there. And growing up, I think I was opportune to, you know, sort of hang out with a bunch of people who are older than me. So I could, you know, sounding this, you know, real
Think a bit further ahead.
true players, you know. You know, there's something there, you know, there's, you know, those things about royalties and making money in the long run.
Right.
There was our numbers, you know, we used to talk about our numbers from like 2001, like, you know, we're so million people. Imagine if each person just bought this 100 naira CD. It was, you know,
Right.
that's a lot of money. You know, just imagine just half of the country, you know. So yeah, there was always something there for me. I feel like this generation is ripping a lot from the work a bunch of people have put in, probably quit halfway.
Right.
But we should thank them
Right.
for still even,
Doing what they did.
doing what they did,
Yeah.
because God knows, like,
And we thank you.
I was just,
Our elder son.
I'm loyal.
I didn't miss that note. Thank you.
I'm very loyal. Like, and there's so many people in the back end. Like, so there were the people who were in the front end, so the artists that you see, but there were so many people in the back end. There were some people who were in studios. There's some people who just invested in some of these artists. Like, literally took all their money, their pocket money, and put it into these artists. Some of them betrayed
I think it manifests so much when you look at the different, not to dwell on music, but if you look at the different aspects of the entirety of the creative industry in Nigeria, you see how far music has gone and how much more exported they are than all the other stuff, and how much more they're celebrated than the other aspects. You can tell that there's a lot of work that's been put into it over the years.
Yeah. But then even looking at all that work, and I know that like obviously you're in a place where you're fine, you're cool. But when you think of all the investment that was made in that time, do you ever think, oh, perhaps I would at some point come back in here somewhere, even if it is, I don't know, the marketing, they're thinking about the numbers. Because even what you said about the fact that like, oh, there are so hundreds of millions of Nigerians, and if each person just buys this and buys that, a lot of people who I think go into the creative industry don't think about the numbers. But what it looks like with you is that whether it's the science, the analytical combination, and with the creative tendencies, you always thought that way. So now seeing how it has grown and matured to this point, do you think at any point you would want to have anything to kind of do with the industry again?
Definitely. I
Yeah?
would definitely love to do. See, I told you it was never enough.
Yeah.
So I meet people like myself today, and I feel sorry for them sometimes. Those guys who will come to you and say, you ask them what they do, say, well, I'm an actor, and I'm also a singer, I do some graphics. And,
Yeah.
that was me that year.
Right.
Because one thing wasn't enough.
Right.
It was just about mixing, a bunch of creative art sectors. But I feel like at this point, I definitely could go back. I just haven't been able to decide where I would sit,
Where you would fit.
and will be enough. If I was going to just throw it out there, I would love to be someone that gives funding to the creative industries.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like sort of mentor a couple
makes
of
a lot
people.
of sense.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
where I would like to be.
Yeah.
Like, you have a good idea, nobody believes in your idea. Come, I have this money and this sort of structure that might help you put it together.
Yeah.
I think you have a thing about sort of putting, like, how best do I say this? Seeing people, sort of like grooming people and seeing them sort of like do more than.
Have we met before?
It's like you guys are having like a connection. You're getting each other.
But yeah, that's what makes me the most happy. But it doesn't pay bills.
Yeah,
Right.
it doesn't.
So I mean, yeah. So
Yeah.
you just have to figure out a way to earn some cash. But that's what makes me happy the most. If I'm able to put a few things together and watch it grow. And I don't need the tweet that says thank you. I also don't need that as well. I'll just be.
Just
Oh my
chill.
God.
Okay, do you know what?
So put it out there.
Yeah, like it's out into the atmosphere. There's so many things that I want to jump off of the back of some of the things you said, but let's take a quick break.
Okay.
And we'll be right back. All right, so stick around. We will be right back.
I could feel myself falling, like saying, bro, you're falling. Wow, you're falling. This guy, you are actually falling down, oh. This stuff that you see on TV is happening to you. God is real.
Who are you? Why are you black?
Welcome to the heart of the matter.
The whole world was looking for me.
She called me, she's like, oh my God, Ines, it's God that brought you back. And I just dropped to the floor.
I'm going to dive right into the heart of the matter.
What are your thoughts on Canada?
My thoughts on Canada.
Real random.
I'm really so excited today.
Just a tad. Very passionate about leveling the playing field. Listening is not the only aspect of communication.
I believe that the solution is from the bottom up. If you don't talk now, you talk later.
There's glory. There's glory.
So let's break it down.
Welcome back to House of the Matter. My name is Dikwa Ayadosi, and I'm here with...
Omotayo.
Yes, and we're talking to Mr. Olateru Olagbegi, a.k.a. Fusi. Do you like how I do that?
No, it's Fusi.
It's like it's
Fusi. Okay, like Fusi. Sorry, guys.
Not fussy. I'm not fussy.
He's not fussy. He's Fusi.
It's chill.
It's cool.
It's
cool.
calm.
But before we went on the break, you're talking about sort of like your heart for sort of grooming people and just like birthing things and watching them kind of grow and sort of like nurturing things, mentoring things and people. And I think that's such an interesting place to be because you are right in the space where there's a lot of young people that are being attracted to what you do or the kind of same space you are in. First of all, let me ask a candid question as one who is also in that sphere. Do you make money? Do you make good money? Do you make money? Do you make a lot of money? I think that drives a lot of young people. That's why I ask.
Let's say I make enough.
Make enough.
But would it's a very tough question to answer
Yeah.
in front of camera. But I'm surviving.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think I mentioned that because one of the things you talked about when we were on the break was that there's sort of this balance that millennials are trying to figure out between doing what makes them truly happy and doing what brings a lot of money. Unfortunately, a lot of people are more drawn to money because, we need to eat.
Yep.
And they are the people that also want to flex after eating. But there's kind of juggling that. So what would you say to a millennial who's trying to get into or who already is in the art space and would like to balance finding what they love to do and surviving?
You took me to that place.
Yeah.
And
It's a good place.
It's a good place, but you took me to before employment.
Okay.
Funny enough, I made more money before I was employed.
Wow.
So I took a pay cut when I got employed.
Wow.
But there's no consistency. Like it's not the cash flow is not consistent.
Before it's not. Yeah, you can't guarantee. Yeah.
You can't guarantee, but you can make some really good money this month and not make money for another 4 months. But
Right.
Yes.
at the end of the year, your balance, like what you saw that year, way more than what you'd get in a job. But they say rolling stone gathers
No moss. Yeah.
So I feel like I'm preaching.
Yes, hey, look, I'm here
Offering
for
baskets.
it.
We're ready for it.
We're here for it.
So it's around. So me and my friends, some of these friends from back in the days, we have these conversations time to time about who's a master. I don't know if you guys have this conversation.
I don't know what a master is.
Exactly. What do you mean?
These guys who come out and give master classes.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like
Yes.
I feel
So we
we
have
shade.
these conversations about who is a master. Like when have you mastered?
Right.
That you can come out
And say I'm doing a master class.
and teach some other people. When I was talking about masters, I'm trying to talk about the authenticity. Like, for you to be able to sit here and give advice, then you have to have sort of walked the path.
Yeah.
I think I've walked the path a little bit.
Yeah.
So I feel like, so it depends on what you want. You can live the life of the consultant that would make good money, but you need to learn. You need to learn the art from a master,
Right.
not from somebody else,
Right.
from a real master. And you need to look for your master. Your master may not appear to you on social media. That may
Right.
not be the master. The master might you know, not really have a fancy studio. I mean, and I'm sure if you interview a bunch of other people in the creative industries who are really successful, they will tell you a story about a master at some point that they met with this person and they were blown away, and the person might not be popular.
Right.
You know, so I feel like people need to work the craft. Young people need to learn the craft so they can master the craft.
Right.
And to learn the craft, you don't always learn by leading. Sometimes you learn by following. So I'm not discouraging the people who want to start their businesses immediately, but there's a lot to learn out there. Learn a little bit. Some people spend longer than some others learning.
Yeah.
I got into employment at a sort of time where I needed consistency in my life. I was tired of maybe, and I needed to learn. And I've been learning since, and I still don't know nothing. I'm so slow. But yeah, do you get what I mean? Like, you're still learning. I mean, at some point you would decide, okay, I think I know a little to be able to go a different direction. But in that direction, you'll still be learning. Those are my thoughts. I hope that wasn't too...
That was great. Hello.
It had a depth to it. How does a young person who is in the creative industry and not in music, because music, like you said, the fathers have come before us. They have worked hard for the structure. But in a lot of other industries, there is no structure. If you're coming out and you're trying to be in literally like a painter or like some other kind of artist, there is no structure around it to help you make money. So when you're trying to choose finding a master, which I will call a mentor, sort of, and you're trying to determine what your path is, but you have all these conflicting things, like you have to eat, you have to plan your life. If you're a young man, there's more pressure on you because they expect you to be the one making the money.
Yeah.
Like, with all these pressures that are not new, because we can say, oh, nowadays, it's not a new pressure. And you said you made a lot of money when you were freelancing beforehand, but a lot of people are not making that money now.
Yeah.
Is there something you learned that allowed you to make the money? Was it that you saw an opportunity, or was it like a skill that you learned because you were being mentored in that area?
So I had one of the best mentors in the world. Like, my mom, she was a fantastic mentor. So growing up, I had watched her go through business after business, like literally run a restaurant for a couple of years. I say, you know what, these guys have stolen too much, I'm gonna close it down. You know, like, I had watched all of that. So I think growing up, in my mindset was always, you need to be creative about how you want to make money. So I didn't really have a lot of skills. Maybe I could do voiceovers. I had a good eye for design. I had a good network. What does this mean? It means that I pitch myself to some of my colleagues or some of my older relatives or family or friends or people I know about these three, you know, small things that I could do.
Right.
You know, oh, let's do an advert for you on radio. It'll cost me X to do it.
So that's like basic.
It's just basic, but like, and then that money fed my passion. So maybe we would record with it, maybe we would buy CDs with it, whatever. But like, I needed to make money. It was apparent, like it was a sure thing. You need to make money. You need to earn some income. So I know young people will have to challenge, especially if they're not. So guess what? I might be coming from Silver Spoon or what you call it. So I can't speak for everybody. I can speak for my situation. But I remember there were a bunch of other people that I had engaged with at that point who weren't so lucky. They didn't have the network to vibe with, you know. They couldn't, where I would easily sit down, where I had no money and not look out of place.
Right.
They would look out of place from the door.
Right.
So maybe they didn't get some connects that I might have been able to have access to. I feel like people, those sorts of people, should make money to feed their passion. And making money might not be from the passion itself.
Right. I think that speaks to lots of discipline and focus.
that a lot of young people don't have.
Yes.
And then when you're old enough to have it, you don't have the young
Strength.
person's will,
Yeah.
you know, and strength.
You know what I love most about that? It's the fact that it speaks to having so much passion for the thing that you want to do that you're willing to sort of like do something else. Because a lot of people are like, oh, I'm a singer.
creative.
I can't do it. But it's like you. The end goal is that. How can you fund that? Let's look for other things that you can, you know, to be able to fund that. That won't still take you away ultimately from the goal. Yeah. But you also mentioned about being on the straight and narrow with like the way you conduct business, not being dodgy.
Yeah.
That is a major issue. I mean, coming from like, let's look outside of the creative space. I just been in Nigeria. It's a major issue. But then, unfortunately, because it's been reinforced over the years, even from other industries and from the older generation, it's naturally been passed down to the younger generation. And now we have a lot of people who just understand life as being dodgy. Like, that's just the way they know to do life. It's just, oh, a little something here, a little something there. It doesn't, they don't even articulate it in their minds as being dodgy. Yeah. How is this even possible to conduct business or to have a career or to just go about your business life without, what does that look like? How is that achievable?
It's very possible, but you have to have rules and stick to them. It's not going to be a friendly path because some people won't just be able to understand why you can't just be dodgy. You know, they just wouldn't understand it. But that's their business, you know. I mean, there are a bunch of people now, I mean, let's not call names, but they're paying for stuff they did like 20 years ago. I mean, like, it doesn't, you know, you can't hide it. You have to walk the path. I mean, it works for me. You do business with somebody, you want to profit, you put a profit in. Let the profit margin be there, it's clear. That's what I'm going to make.
A lot of people rationalize being dodgy with profit margins. So they'll tell you, and I'm like, you know when it's reasonable and you know when you're going like, when you're cheating someone. I think it's a huge one that a lot of people are still, I've struggled. I think I'm getting a little better, but not like to the end of being dodgy, but like trying to find where you know that, okay, this is actually a great place to value myself. This is reasonable. This makes sense. And, you know. So
I have this DJ guy who is a bit of a popular DJ now. And then I had to call him to DJ at a proper event. So I called him very official. And he asked me like 5 questions. I said, I gave him some awkward hours, like from 11 to 3. And he was like, from experience, that usually never works because we'll have to come in around 9. And most likely those people want to stay a bit over. So the kind of hours I would like to charge for is at that point, I knew whatever he was going to charge me, I was ready to pay. And he gave me his price and I said, I will tell them. And yeah, we did use him.
I mean, those are indicators to know that's someone who definitely knows how to price and has taken the time to learn the things that you're talking about.
Exactly.
To learn.
Yeah. We do have to round up, but I just want to say that what I took from this conversation was so interesting, completely different from what I thought it would be, was just that level-headedness that comes from knowing yourself, knowing your path, and just being like, this is who I am, these are the skills I have, this is where I'm going. Let's just face that. And
I think it's really great to find, because it's hard. I mean, I think we find people who have your kind of resolve, people who would leave, you know, quote unquote, making more money, but actually is it making more money when it's not consistent and going for something that's lesser money but more consistent and, you know, creates a lot of impact. We see that with older people. But with people in our generation, it's more about the hustle and the money and trying to make a quick buck and stuff like that. And it's refreshing to find somebody who is focused on the right things, you know, who has the right standards and the right morals and sort of is interested in seeing the organic growth of the art space and has the right approach to that growth.
Yeah. I wish my parents could hear this.
I'm sure they know it.
They know.
I'm sure they know it. Thank you so much
for
being a guest on The Heart of the Matter.
Thank you. I'm loyal.
That is our episode for today. But please remember to follow us on our social media pages. We are at HOTM TV on Instagram and Facebook, and we are HOTM channel on YouTube. See you next time.